Now, Murliji, I want to ask a small follow-up on that. Now, you've grown up in a very hostile student political environment back in the 80s and 90s. What do you see any changes? Because even when I grew up in college, which is very recently, it's the same environment. The JNU controversy happened, and now we have somebody yelling "Bharat ke tukde honge, inshallah, inshallah." And we also have people who are telling that we will strategically cut off the chicken's neck in the Northeast so that Northeast is separated from India. So do you see any change, or do you think these Marxists and Islamists are restricted to student campuses today?
Now, of course, there is a sea change. It is not a small change or incremental change. There is a complete change in the entire landscape of India. When we were fighting against Naxalites, first there was no realization even among the mainstream establishment and intellectual and policy establishment and leadership and who were governing at that time, that these forces were not simply fighting against RSS or BJP, but they were fighting against Indian state. That realization was not there at that time, and that acceptance was not there. I remember even today, as a student leader, I used to carry dossiers, number of dossiers prepared, how they are fighting against Indian state, ideologically, politically, and also militarily. So we used to carry all those informations and documents and everything to Delhi. For your information, I can definitely say, even people like Arun Shauri, who was in PUCL at that time, he was not closely associated with RSS or BJP at that time. He was in PUCL. He was one of the important leaders of the PUCL at that time. Even to convince him, these Naxalites are not enemies of BJP alone, they are enemies of the country, or enemies of the state. So I used to come frequently. I used to meet many people in the establishment and in the journalistic world, because there was an impression that Naxalites were fighting for the rights of the poor.
Yes.
That aspect was only highly propagated and highly registered. So that was the situation. And persons like George Fernandez and all these people, they used to support. And even persons like leaders like N.T. Ramarao used to call Naxalites are, patriots. They are fighting for the common poor persons, like that. So there was a kind of feeling. And that was the reason many political parties used to, have collaborative relationship or alignments with the Naxalites at times, in order to win elections or in order to stay in power, like that. Now, irrespective of party, still those things are there, but in the mainstream, there is a realization that who are the threats to the nation. There is a consensus that now among the establishment and among the media, there may be a silent supporters or passive supporters, but vocally, there is nobody to say that enemies of the state aspect is now well known. This has become established. This is the sea change. Now, this is point one. Point two, Naxalites have many times got aligned with other terrorist forces and separatist forces, particularly belonging to radical Islam, and also in the, evangelists in the Northeast and all these people. So this also now there is a broad consensus among the intellectuals who not necessarily belong to BJP, RSS, but they don't view these people as friends of the country or supporters of the nation, nationalist school of thought. So this is a kind of wide and deeper realization has taken place. This change is there. So we have to understand that. Of course, now there is a globally also the realization, this leftist thought and ultra leftist thought, there are few takers all over the world. Their clout has greatly diminished in different countries and different societies. So ecosystem is not in favor of the ultra left forces now. not just in India, but all over the world. Now, the young people in different countries, of course, I would say nationalism and feeling of nationalism is natural in every society and every country, but each society's concept of nationalism need not be same. Of course, our nationalism can never become identical with the Western countries. We have a deeper cultural roots, but young people all over the world are becoming more and more nation-centric. So this also has, greatly diminished the space for the ultra left all over the world.
Right. I agree
So
with
that
you.
also has weakened the left movement in India.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.